You know, in cybersecurity, it's often the simplest tools that are the most dangerous. And today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest, Python. Yeah, that simple, popular programming language. We're going to see how it's become the weapon of choice for building offensive tools, and doing it at lightning speed.
Think about it. In the digital world, it's all about speed, right? It's a constant race between the attackers and the defenders. And the key to winning that race, it's all about automation. For the pros on both sides of that fight, the secret weapon for automation is, you guessed it, Python.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First up, we'll dig into why Python is basically the digital Swiss Army knife for security folks. Then, we'll look at how you actually build an offensive toolkit with it. After that, we'll talk about the massive speed advantage this creates, what we're calling the automation race. And finally, we'll get into the really interesting part, the ethical edge, and how the very same weapon can also be the shield. All right, let's jump right in. So, why Python? How does this language, famous for being so simple and easy to learn, become the absolute go-to for some of the most complicated security missions out there? Let's break it down. See, the crazy thing about Python is that its power doesn't come from some super complex secret feature. It's the complete opposite. It's so simple that you can go from just an idea to a working tool in minutes. Seriously, minutes, not days. And what really supercharges this is its huge collection of libraries. I mean, you need to build a custom network packet. Boom, you've got a library like Scapy. Need to handle network connections? Just pull in sockets. You're not starting from scratch. You're basically using pre-built Lego blocks to create incredibly powerful tools with very little code.
Okay, that's the why. But how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's talk about building an actual offensive toolkit from the ground up.
This is a perfect example. Let's say you want to build a tool to guess passwords on a server, what we call an SSH brute forcer. In Python, it's shockingly simple. You can take what sounds like a really complex attack and boil it down to these 5 basic steps. The script does all the boring, repetitive work for you, trying thousands of passwords way faster than a person ever could. It just sits there, trying and trying until it gets that connection successful message. That, right there, is the raw power of automation.
And it's not just about passwords. Python is also the perfect delivery system for something called shellcode. Okay, so once an attacker finds a weak spot, they need to get their own commands running on that machine, right? That's the payload. Well, Python scripts are the perfect way to automate that delivery, to sneak in that bit of code that can take over the whole system.
But we can go even deeper. The top-tier security researchers, the real pros, they're using Python for more than just exploiting flaws they already know about. They're using it to find brand new ones. We're talking about writing scripts that poke and prod at the most fundamental, complex parts of our technology. Things like the Hyper-V that runs the cloud, or deep-seated memory functions in an operating system. These are the crown jewels, the highest value targets, and Python is the go-to hunting rifle.
So all of this automation, it creates a truly insane advantage in speed. Let's really look at what this automation race means in practice.
Just look at this chart. It says it all. An attack that would have taken a person days of painstaking manual work, probing, testing, trying things out, all of that can be packed into one Python script. And that script, it can do the entire job in just a few minutes. This isn't just a little bit faster. It completely changes the game. It warps the timeline of an attack.
And this quote here, it just hits the nail on the head when it comes to the defender's problem. An attacker gets to focus all their automated firepower on one specific target. But the defender, they have to protect everything. And that everything is growing every single day. More servers, more apps, more devices. It's just impossible to defend manually. So if the attackers are automating their offense, the defenders have no choice. They have to automate their defense just to have a fighting chance.
So let's walk through a modern attack timeline. Step 1, an attacker runs a recon script. In minutes, it's mapped the whole network. Step 2, another script starts scanning, hunting for just one weak spot, like a server someone forgot to patch. Step 3, the second it finds one, an exploit script fires off, access gained, in seconds. And Step 4, a final script kicks in and starts quietly pulling out sensitive data. The whole thing, from the first probe to data theft, can be done and dusted before a human on the defense team even sees the first warning light.
Which brings us to a really important point. A script, at the end of the day, isn't good or evil. It's just a tool, right? A hammer can build a house or it can break a window. The very same lines of Python code can be used to cause chaos or to build up the strongest defenses imaginable.
Just take a look at this. On one side, you have a black hat hacker who writes a script to exploit a vulnerability for money.
On the other, you have an ethical hacker who writes the exact same script to find that same vulnerability so it can be fixed. One uses automation to steal, the other uses it to test defenses. We're talking about the same skills, the same code. The only thing separating them is why they're doing it.
And this quote from Gray Hat Hacking sums it up perfectly. The real difference between building and breaking comes down to your ethics, whether you have permission and what your goal is. Ethical hacking isn't about causing harm. It's a professional job, all about making our digital lives safer.
So what's the big takeaway here? If you're building software or defending a network, you just have to embrace these same tools. You've got to use Python to automate your own security, to find the holes in your systems before the attackers do. You absolutely have to learn to think like an attacker. And honestly, the best way to do that? Build the same kinds of tools they do. Security can't just be something you tack on at the end. It has to be automated, it has to be constant, baked right into everything you do.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. When a few lines of code can be both the weapon and the shield, who's really responsible for keeping us safe? It's not just the cybersecurity experts anymore, is it? It's the developers writing the code, the companies deploying it. Really, it's on all of us to understand just how powerful these tools are and to make sure we're using them to build a better, safer digital world, not to tear it down.